Okay, so I have 3 o'clock now, so welcome to our regular Saturday afternoon meditation class. And we have also started the introduction to meditation class, and that is being held in the community hall, which is to the north of this hall. In other words, just the other side of the reception area here, through the gate and turn right, the next little hall there. And that's being held this month by Bianca. Bianca's a very lovely teacher. So anyone who's coming to the introduction to meditation class, the series of 4 lessons for those who haven't meditated before, that is being held in the hall called the community hall, just little to the north, the other side of the reception area. In this class, we do a 40-45 minute meditation, but also start off with a little instructions on meditation. And one of those instructions is to learn just how to deal with any of the difficulties and problems which arise in meditation. You'll find that sometimes your meditation is nice and easy, that you have very good energy, you can sit down, it's reasonably peaceful, and you can let go of the body very much and focus on something like the breathing and have a very peaceful time. And there are other occasions when you find either you can't stop thinking, or you're sleepy, or weird things happen in your body or somewhere else, and you wonder why this seems to be an obstacle. And a lot of times that we learn by our own experience, but also by listening to some of the teachings from monks and nuns or from the books about how to deal with the obstacles of meditation. And the two main obstacles of meditation are always just either thinking too much or being dull, sleepy. And of those two obstacles, the being sleepy is not the hard one to overcome, but the thinking too much is a little bit difficult. I think I mentioned earlier, somewhere recently, that to change one's perceptions, look at the problem in a different way, and imagine your mind like a lake, a body of water, which is a very old archetypal way of looking at this thing we call the mind, like a lake. And the thoughts are just on the surface. They're like the waves on the surface of the lake. And if you want to calm those waves down, just putting your hands on top of those waves and trying to smooth them out doesn't calm them down at all. However, instead of trying to calm down the waves that way, we just look underneath the lake. Underneath the lake, a few inches, foot, maybe 2 foot underneath the surface. It's very calm there, very peaceful there. So one of the ways of overcoming those thoughts is to look underneath them, beyond them. Because otherwise, if you start to pay attention to those thoughts, you find they keep going on and on and on and on and on. And you can't sort of stop them. But go underneath them and always get a bit of a perspective, a calm place underneath which the waves can't act at all, they can't know them. And that place is very peaceful and still. And as soon as you start to recognize that stillness, which is there all the time in the lake, you go to the place where that stillness exists, then you're very peaceful during the meditation. And when you don't put so much effort into trying to stop those thoughts, of course, your tiredness disappears. The mind has a certain amount of energy coming into it all the time. And as long as we don't waste that energy, of course we overcome our sleepiness and our tiredness. It's one of those things which happens especially on meditation retreats. You find that when you start meditating, you may be tired, but as you continue meditating, your tiredness disappears. The mind becomes energized, it becomes alert, and it becomes much more powerful mindfully. It's just the nature of the mind. The mind is weak because it's been doing too much. You stop, relax, be peaceful, and the energy of the mind starts to regenerate. And you know that the mind is getting energized, is getting stronger mindfulness, because you can see more, hear more, and whatever you see or hear becomes much more delightful. It is the joy of meditation starts to arise. And it feels good. It feels something you love doing. It's pleasurable. And that delight of mindfulness, when you start to get still and relax a lot, is not just a pleasure. It means that you don't need to put effort to focus on whatever you're watching. There's a general form of delight there. And to give you those examples, I've wrote about those examples many times, but one of those examples which comes to mind, the very first meditation retreat which I did as a student many years ago, that I was allowed on this retreat to go for a walk for 1 hour every morning. I went to the local botanical gardens where I sat in front of a clump of bamboo. I was supposed to have exercise, but the clump of bamboo was so beautiful, so gorgeous, I couldn't stop looking at it. And I spent 50 minutes every morning for 8 of those 9 days, just staring at the most beautiful clump of bamboo I've ever seen in the world. Now, I often remark why that happened, and why afterwards when I went to visit that bamboo, it wasn't beautiful at all. How can you expect bamboo in botanical gardens in a cold country like England to flourish? But to me it looked beautiful, and the reason was because my mindfulness was very strong. But the point I'm going to focus on now is not just that it looked beautiful. What I'm focusing on is that I could watch it for 50 minutes just easily, and I never got restless, I never got tired, I never thought I was getting bored. You could always see something more in what I was watching. And that is what I mean by saying that when it's joyful, you don't have to focus. Focus happens naturally. Whatever you're watching, it draws you into it. And you can sit there for... The only reason I left after 50 minutes, because there was a reasonably strict retreat, and that was the time for breakfast, and so I had to walk back to get my breakfast. So, the point I'm making is that the idea you have to focus on something and use your effort and struggle to make sure you stay there, that is not the way meditation works. Meditation works because you are calm, still, relaxed enough. The mind becomes energized, and what you're watching becomes naturally enjoyable. So little by little, as we relax more, we let the joy come and the stillness come. And so often in our meditation, I find, my teachers used to teach this, you will also experience this, that when you learn how to relax and let go, the mind becomes still all by itself. It's a wonderful thing to observe. The best meditations, you never do them. They just happen. They just happen because you're relaxing, you're being still, you're not doing stuff, you're not disturbing the process of meditation. You must all have heard so many times in spiritual places like this center, or by listening to meditation, the power of letting go, or letting things be. Not trying to go places, to gain things, to make things happen, but just letting this moment be. Because when you stop trying to change things, you let it be. You're not trying to achieve anything or get rid of things, just letting this moment be. You're not doing any business. You're not reacting to the world. You're not making things happen. You're just getting outside, like being what they sometimes call the separate observer, just watching without judging, without trying to make things happen. You're letting things be. And you will find, after a while of letting things be, not interfering with this nature of your body and mind, you'll find the body relaxes. It knows how to relax much better than you do. It knows how to be still. It knows how to just be aware. And you find all the very best meditations occur when you aren't doing anything. When you're just watching, being still, being peaceful, and letting your mind calm down. So we have all of the introductory ways of encouraging this, and of course I always lead this meditation session starting off with being aware of your body, to be able to relax it, not just to be aware of the body for some medical science, but being aware of it so you can learn how to notice which part of it's tense and how to relax those tense parts of the body. It's not that hard to do. You focus on an area which is tight, where the muscles are stretched, or they've just been squashed, or they're injured and they're bruised or whatever. You focus on that part, and just with kindness, not trying to make it better, not trying to make it worse, but like you give even a little animal you meet on the street, a little kitten or a cat or a dog, to give that some kindness. It's amazing when you do give kindness to an animal, just how they feel safe and how they will relax and be at peace in your presence. And if sometimes, not so much here in Australia, sometimes you see a snake in monastery, but a lot of times, I remember all those snakes you came across in Thailand. And in this monastery there were snakes all over the place. They never bit any monk. The reason was because the monks weren't tasty. What any snake want to bite a monk for? It's not their type of food. But more than that, the monks were always calm and peaceful and kind. You find if you give calm, peace, especially kindness, to something like a snake, they would never oppress you at all. They never attack you, because they feel at ease. So little by little, when we give kindness to our body, an ache, a pain in the body, you can find it relaxing, you can feel that happening. And of course, sometimes being in forest monasteries for all my life, which is a long way away from the nearest doctor usually, if there was ever any sort of illness, sickness, wound or something, that's how I learned how to deal with those pains in the body, injuries to the body, to focus on it and give it as maximum kindness. Awareness and kindness, you could feel it relaxing, the tightness, the tension, mostly created by the fear of what might happen. All of that relaxed, and the body healed itself very, very well. And even internally, you could heal. So little by little, we're understanding how when we do a meditation, and we're aware and we're kind to parts of our body, the whole body relaxes. And that is an important part of our meditation, to be able to relax that body. Because once the body is relaxed, it just settles down. When it settles down, relaxed, then we can watch our emotional world, the mind, and we can make that become peaceful. And then after a while, then we can watch things like the breath or whatever meditation object we choose to look at. And all the years I've been teaching meditation, is if a person tries to watch something like the breath too soon, and they haven't got enough relaxation in the body, enough calm in the mind, they're wasting their time. They'll try to watch the breath, but thoughts will come up, body might move, there might be aches and pains. They become very restless. It's not the correct way to meditate. We allow our mind to become very peaceful first, our body to become very relaxed and at ease. That's why we have these nice chairs to sit in, cushions, little stools to sit on to meditate in, to try and get as comfortable as possible. I don't mean that comfortable laying down on the ground, because actually that's not that comfortable. Sometimes I wonder, why didn't we learn how to meditate lying down? Bring your own pillow and mattress and come meditate on the floor here. And the reason is, if you ever notice when you actually go to sleep, you're always tossing and turning, you always move. If you're sitting down, you find you can sit down and remain motionless for much longer than you can do when you're laying down on a bed, no matter how comfortable that bed is. There's something about the sitting posture which is able to be maintained without movement for a long period of time. So that's why we learn how to sit down, make ourselves comfortable, and after a while the body is really happy just sitting down. And after that occurs, then you've got the freedom now to calm your mind down. It's like this big amount of business has been settled. And now we can learn how to calm our mind. And calm your mind, it's very similar. You're aware of what disturbs your mind. And you let that go. All the things which disturb your mind, as usual, are the past and the future. The thinking, all that sort of stuff. The judging, the wanting. And after a while, one sees all of that disappearing. Just the mind becomes peaceful, and it becomes more delightful when you are in this moment, and you're putting aside the past or the future for the time being, and having a rest. And this meditation I'll try and introduce when I get to this part of the meditation, the simile of the carrying the two heavy bags. But that will come in a few minutes' time. And after the past and the future have been softened, then we go off to watching our, say something like the breath. And it's very easy then. Just like I could watch a clump of bamboo for an hour, you can watch the breath for an hour very easily, because your breath starts to appear very beautiful. Delightful experience, peacefully just watching your breath go in and your breath go out. So why do we have to do this? We do this because it's peaceful. And the longer we stay on a peaceful object with delight and relaxation, the more energy we get, the more happiness we get. Our mindfulness really starts to increase a lot. And that means we can really relax very, very, very deeply. And of course, hopefully, that's what you'll find out. So anyway, there's the little introduction on how obstacles occur and how they're overcome. Hopefully, that can be of help. So now we're going to start our meditation. It's just gone past 3:15. And again, once more, if anyone for the introduction to meditation class that is in the room, call the community hall, just a little bit outside of here. Okay, so now if you're not already in your meditation posture, please adopt that meditation posture. Get yourselves comfy. And close your eyes. We will be meditating till 4 o'clock. But I will lead the meditation at the beginning, then I'll be quiet for about 20 minutes, and I'll just start speaking again just before the meditation finishes. So first of all, we bring our attention to our body. How are you sitting now? With your eyes closed, you can actually feel the way you're sitting. Especially to start with your legs. How are your legs positioned right now? And are they comfortable? If you need to move your legs, please do so now. To make sure that they're in a position where you can maintain comfort for a long enough period of time that basically your awareness of the legs vanishes. They're not a problem anymore. And once your legs are in a reasonably comfortable position, of course then you move up to your butt, making sure that's comfortable on top of the cushion. And then your back. If you're sitting on a chair, sometimes you might like to try leaning back against the backrest. Other times, you want to straighten your back. Your shoulders. Sometimes you just be aware of that part of your body. And even just give it some care, some kindness, wishing it well. Like sometimes you might get an email from an old friend. They just asked, how are you? Things going okay during COVID time? Just the fact that they have expressed their care for you makes your body feel that much better. The fact that you care for your own body makes the body relax. You go down your arms to your hands. And find the best possible posture for you. And go back up to your neck. Just making sure the head's well balanced on top of the neck. To your face, relaxing the muscles around your eyes and mouth. And hopefully you can notice that when you do relax your body, it feels not just comfortable, but delightfully comfortable. Same sort of delight if you soaked in a hot tub or had a massage. Or reclined, if you remember, on holidays, on a recliner by the beach, with nothing to do, just to relax to the max. And once you've relaxed parts of your body individually, then see if you can be aware of your body as a whole, as a unit, all connected together. The body in which you live. And as you just notice it, if there's any part of it which is still not fully relaxed. Focus on that area. Zoom in. Let your focus go deeper and deeper into that area. Let other areas just fall off the screen. As you go deeper into that one area, you can give it much more kindness, acceptance, peace. Just being there. Like a mother will look after a child. And see if you can notice that part of the body become more relaxed and open and less fearful. Fear causes so much tightness and tension in the body. The kindness overcomes that fear. And then once the body is very relaxed, see if you can notice that in that delightful feeling. See how that delightful feeling can take the relaxation further. The meditation object is almost that delightful feeling of relaxation, that joy. The body which is at ease. And when the body is relaxed enough, then we go to our mind, our emotional world. And it's helpful, I recommend, to start off with noticing how peaceful one is, or how agitated. How does the mind feel? Talking about the peaceometer. How peaceful are you? If you wish, you can give it a number from 1 to 10. 1 is really, really peaceful, 10 is agitated. How peaceful are you now from 1 to 10? What makes that peace deeper? What causes agitation in your mind? One thing which causes agitation, you will notice, is when we own our past and own our future, to the point that we can't let that past or future go. So in order to help let the past and future go, I'm going to introduce this meditation exercise called the 2 heavy shopping bags. You've gone shopping before. You've carried bags which are very full and very heavy. You know what it feels like. So imagine you've been carrying these 2 heavy shopping bags, one in your left hand, one in your right hand. And they're both just packed to the brim and really heavy. So heavy that your arms ache and your shoulders hurt. And you look at the shopping bag in your left hand, and it has the the words on the, or rather the letters on the outside of that bag, 4 letters, P-A-S-T. Because in that bag are the contents of your past. Pleasant memories, troublesome memories, even traumatic memories. You've been carrying them around for such a long time. That's why your arms ache and your shoulders hurt. And in the right hand, that's also a bag very full. And that has the letters on the outside, F-U-T-U-R-E, because that represents your future, where you carry your plans, your dreams, your hopes, and your anxieties as well. That's also extremely heavy. And it's a burden to walk with them. You just focus on the bag in your left hand representing your past. You notice how heavy it feels in this imaginary exercise. Then you imagine leaning to the left, which allows you to lower the bag in your left hand slowly to the floor. And when it meets the floor, all of the weight, the burden vanishes. The ground now supports it, which allows you to uncurl the fingers of your hand, move them away from the handle, and move your left arm up by your left side. You've let go of your past, so you can relax and be free for a while. And you focus on the bag in your right hand, representing the future, your fears and anxieties, and hopes and dreams as well. And then you lean to the right, lower the bag in your right hand to the ground. When it meets the floor, that is not a burden anymore. There's no weight. The ground is supporting it, not you. You can move your hand away from the handle, move your right hand up by your side, and allow your right hand and arm to recover, re-energize. And then you look down on the ground, the past and the future. You let them go for a while. You don't need to worry because no one is going to take them away. They're going to be there for you afterwards. But now you have the freedom, the rest, the opportunity just to be in this amazing space between the past bag and the future bag. You're standing between them in this place called the present moment. Free, resting, knowing that those two things are safe, but you're not carrying them now. You're at peace in this moment. I found a very good little exercise to help put down the past and the future, so it could be in this place between, the freedom of now. That usually makes this present moment very peaceful. And once you see its delight, its benefits, its joy, not having to worry about the past and the future, it's all safe down there. This is the time you can relax. Once you can delight in being free, the present moment, now, will be easy to maintain. And in this moment, it gets more and more unlikely that thoughts will come up. because thoughts are about the past and the future mostly. All wanting needs a future to land in. All ill will, negativity needs a past to fuel discontent. It's like it's a gas supply, the petrol supply of discontent is your past. In this moment, it's a great sense of being free. In a place where you can relax, with no burdens on you at all. Now, you can feel that relaxation, being in this moment, mostly silent. We can feel that be established. Now if you want to focus on, say, your breathing, you notice the breath as it comes in and goes out so easily. You can sustain that attention without any effort, as the breathing becomes delightful. So all you're doing is watching the breath come in, watching it go out. Always in this moment, enjoying it. I will now be quiet. So you carry on whichever way, however deep you wish to go. When I start speaking again, it'll be just a couple of minutes before the end. It is a couple of minutes before the end of the meditation. How much peace is there inside? How happy is your mind inside? What causes that delight, this being inside, no bags being carried? Just being. As one comes from outside, so from inside to the outside, how does your body feel? Usually the body feels very strong, relaxed. At peace with itself. Just pause to value and enjoy the results of meditation. I'm now going to ring the gong 3 times as usual. When the gong finishes sounding for that 3rd time, then open your eyes to come out from the meditation. Yay. Ooh, that was nice. So while we start to collect some questions from those people listening to the live stream, any questions from our wonderful audience? Yeah. Sometimes you don't get a chance. Anyone have any questions they'd like to ask about the meditation? Okay, we'll get the ones from overseas. Ooh. Thank you. Here we go. 1, 2 from Vietnam, from Canada, Czech Republic, and from Turkey. Oh, what a lovely name. P. Little from Vietnam. It's nice being called something like that. I was startled and unable to keep attention inside to go on meditating when noise from outside appeared and lasted for a long time. What should I do if the next time the situation repeats? To be able to let noise disturb you, it's also being interested in that noise. Asking, what is it? Where is it? Who is it? That makes the noise a little bit more fascinating for the mind. sometimes if you try to give it as little detail as possible, and just say it's noise. And after a while the noise just doesn't disturb you. It's there, but you're inside somewhere and enjoying the inside. You know the noise is happening, but it's not threatening you, it's not important, it's not delightful, it's just there. And you'll be surprised after a while that noise disappears, even though it's loud. I've done that quite a few times, and the usual technique which I teach and practice is that when there is a very loud noise, especially if you start meditation, or you know that loud noise is going to be there for a while. By that occasion I was meditating in just the Suvarnabhumi airport in Bangkok, an hour and a bit before the next person would arrive to go together to a conference. So they asked, well, what should you do? Do you want a cup of tea or coffee? I said, no, I'll just sit here and meditate. It was very noisy. And so instead of just going in, I just sat down, crossed my legs, and I developed the idea of going into a bubble. I had my little bubble. And outside was the noise, but inside it was my little private space where I could meditate. And you could hear noise at first, but that noise soon vanished, disappeared. I was inside my bubble. This was in the concourse of an airport, which is a very noisy place, but it didn't bother me at all. So that's something you can do, is don't give it any importance, no interest, don't try and find out any details. And then the mind soon gets bored with the noise. It's just noise, that's all. Give that a try. From Canada, Carrie. Ajahn Brahm, I've been going through a hard time of insomnia and now developed an extreme anxiety about getting to sleep, making getting to sleep even harder. How do I let go of this fear? First of all, you've been managing to live with this for a while without going to sleep. You're still alive. So the next time you go to bed, don't be afraid of going to sleep. Try to stay awake. Because that's not a joke. Because, years and years ago, quite a few years ago now, I don't know why this happened to me, that I found it a bit difficult to go to sleep at night. And you know what happens, you may have experienced that. It was only for about a month or 2 months. But anyway, that you're laying in your bed, it's nice and comfortable, turning this way, turning that way, trying to get some rest, and then sort of, got anxious, I've got to give a talk tomorrow morning, what if I don't sleep well, I'll give a terrible talk, and all these people coming from such a long distance, And you realise this, what you added to the lack of sleep was the noisy part of it. And then I decided, something which I wonder why I never noticed before, that my bed was the most comfortable place I had. It was soft, it was warm, and I could just stretch out, and the pillow was nice and soft. Your own bed is just a wonderful place to be. And I thought, why do I want to waste this pleasure? Monks don't have much pleasure. Why do I want to waste this pleasure by going to sleep and becoming unconscious? No, I'm going to stay awake and enjoy the soft mattress, the beautiful. And can you close your eyes and think of your mattress in your bed and the beautiful pillow, and you just want to be back there right now. So why do I want to waste this beautiful experience? And of course I said, I don't want to go to sleep. And of course then you went fast asleep. So you can see, if you try to keep awake, then you go to sleep. If you try to go to sleep, that's the worst thing to do. So see if you can the insomnia will pass sooner or later. And instead just enjoy just laying down, relaxing the body. And by doing the meditation, by being in this moment, you can enjoy this moment. Relax the body to the max. And then relax the mind. Maybe do that little that visual imaginary experiment of, exercise, not experiment, of imagining your past and future in 2 big heavy bags. And slowly, deliberately, putting them down and letting them go. And just imagine what it must feel like to have no past, no future. Because for fear and anxiety, you need to have that future back. Some place where the anxiety can make up these very impossible, painful scenarios for yourself, causing you fear. If you let go of the future totally, just in this moment, you can't have anxiety, you can't have fear. You need a future, perception of the future to have fear. Fear what might happen. But in this moment, fear can't exist. So, it's a beautiful way of doing it, learning how to put down that, especially the back of the right hand, fear. From the Czech Republic, Tom. Dear Ajahn, in the Bahudatuka Sutta, the Buddha says that women can't become fully enlightened. What? No, seriously, is this statement legit or was it added later? I don't think it's even in there. That's ridiculous, of course it was. It's not said by the Buddha at all. Many women do become enlightened. In the Therigatha, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of examples of women getting enlightened. So you must have a very bad translation there, in the Bahudatuka Sutta. Because if that was the case, said the Buddha, said that women can't, I wouldn't be a Buddhist. That's not right. There's something very wrong there. But anyway, that's not true. Women can get enlightened. No problem at all. They have become enlightened. So I think I'm not quite sure what that translation is, but the Buddha never said that for sure. Anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. That's a terrible translation. I'm not quite sure what it's saying. But that's not in my experience of reading the sutras. That's one of the reasons why that when I was a monk I learnt Pali, learnt it myself. It wasn't that hard to learn. And that meant I could read all those sutras and the Vinaya in the original language. And that made it really stand out and become very clear that what I was reading was pretty accurate. When you get translations, you get some very weird translations. And some of those weird translations, they don't really mean too much, they don't really affect too much, but some of them actually do change the whole of Buddhism. And one of those translations, those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that when somebody translated samadhi, the important eighth factor of the Eightfold Path, they translated that as concentration. Oh, that caused me trouble when I was a student. And then later on, this can't be right. Because every time, concentration takes real effort, trying. And then later, it didn't make any sense when you just read it this way, read it that way, read it in the Pali. It didn't mean concentration at all, it meant stillness. And that's a totally different idea. When you're really still, of course your mind isn't moving. It has some similarities with concentration, but concentration is you're holding it. Stillness is nature. Just when nothing makes it move, you're still. Concentration, you're forcing it to be still, holding it still, which means at one moment you stop holding it, starts moving again. And that changed a lot of meditation for me and how I teach meditation. Never do concentration, but do stillness. And that's just an example of a word which was poorly translated and caused a lot of trouble for people. Can you imagine stillness? You've been to many places in the world which are really still. Even just having the great good karma of living in Serpentine in Bodhinyana Monastery. Just the other day, just after the Wednesday night talk, just walking out of the hall. It's a beautiful evening, you could see the stars in the sky. Nothing was moving. Still. That's just so delightful, so joyful. And it's quiet, nothing moving, nothing to do. And stillness is always like holy, spiritual, profound. Concentration isn't profound, but stillness is. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. Anyway, so there's a bad translation there somewhere. Now from Turkey, dear Ajahn Brahm, during meditating, my breath becomes shorter and shallower. Sometimes it stops. Is there a problem? Am I trying to control it? No, just let it stop if it wants to stop, and you'll find the breath will start again. So it's just the breath doing what it needs to do. You know, when you're asleep, even when you in a coma, or if you have, I was going to say under anaesthetic, but sometimes they put things in your mouth if you're under anaesthetic. But you know, when you're asleep, when you're working, you're not paying any attention at all, your breath does it perfectly. You know, my breath has been supplying oxygen to my lungs for the last almost 70 years. It's done a really good job. Well done. So I trust my body to know how to breathe. So if my body decides it doesn't need any breath for a few moments, fine. You know, you decide when you want to breathe, body, I'm not going to tell you. And then eventually the breath starts coming up again. So when you're meditating, whoever is answering this question, Selchuk, you're doing very well. It comes shorter and it's very wonderful. Just leave it alone. And if it needs to breathe, then it will breathe. There is a time in the meditation when you stop breathing, but that's in the jhana states. By that time, you're not really aware of breath going in or going out at all. You just, those five senses have been surpassed. And you're in the mind, the sixth sense, and you're just blissing out. But after seeing you, they think you're not breathing. But your breath is very, very subtle at that time. And I don't know if the breath is going in or going out. Maybe, yeah, I've got time. Nice little story of those who haven't heard this before of Ajahn Chah. Because at the end of his life, he had a stroke. And I always say this because he was working too hard. And when he did have his stroke, you know, he was looked after by medics, you know, paid for by the king of Thailand at the time, and 3 monks. And every now and again, while he was, you know, in this monastery, special hut made for him to look after him, that sometimes he would stop breathing. Because there was a medic there 24/7, when the medic saw him stop breathing, of course the medic sort of panicked and wanted to resuscitate him or something. The monk said, no, leave him alone, he's just in a deep meditation, does this regularly. And said, no, got to make sure he's got some oxygen coming in, otherwise he will die. No, leave him alone, this is common. No, I've got to make sure I'm looking after Ajahn Chah. And so they had this wonderful experiment which was done, not recorded at all, only through the hearsay of the monks who were there at the time. So this medic decided to take blood samples every few minutes, just to make sure that the blood was fully oxygenated. That's what he was concerned about, making sure there's enough oxygen in the blood. How the oxygen got there, who knows, but every few minutes they took blood samples and it was fully oxygenated, even though there's no breathing going on. This was not sort of monks saying there's no breathing, this was a medic trained. I don't know how that oxygen was getting in there, but also because he was very, 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 very still. He didn't need much oxygen. You know, it was very, 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 very low metabolism at the time in deep meditation. So maybe some of the oxygen was being absorbed through the pores. That was sometimes people say that. I'm not sure if that experiment has ever been done, but when you're in deep meditation, the blood is still going around. So it needs some sort of heart activity, so some energy is being used, but you don't need any oxygen, or very little. So that's one of the reasons why I trust your body. It knows what to do. And don't interrupt it. If it decides it doesn't need any breathing, fine. And then you'll find it doesn't last that long, and then the breath comes in again. So this is where we can let go. And you can see where the control comes from. Control comes from worrying, from anxiety, from fear. I've got to breathe. If I don't breathe, what's going to happen? I'll leave it alone, it's fine. Your body knows what to do. Okie dokie. So those are the questions from today, with a little story about Ajahn Chah not breathing and being absolutely fine. Any other questions anyone has? Okie dokie, we can finish off then. So for those of you who are meditation addicts, apparently there's another meditation this evening at 7 o'clock. Anusha, I don't know how she managed to do this, taught me into doing another meditation from 7. Is it 7 to 7:30 or 7:45? It was, she's doing like a music night or something. But then I'm doing a meditation, half an hour, then I'm getting out of here. Because monks aren't supposed to listen to music or listening to entertainment. Sometimes people say, well, why do you tell jokes then? Isn't that entertainment? If you listen to my jokes, you'll know it's not entertainment. Decide. Okay, then about 3 times now. Turn around and let me know to you.